Congo Crisis was a proxy war that occurred in the Republic of Congo, which gained its independence in 1960. The tensions began after Congo gained independence from Belgium and elected Joseph Kasavubu. This sparked the movement for nationalism, and the Congolese army mutinied against Belgian rule. This prompted Belgium to send in more troops. In reaction to this, Prime Minister Patrice Lumumba, who was a radicalist, reached out to the Soviet Union for support. The Soviets sent military advisors and other aides. This split the Congo into half. The US and Belgium supported Joseph Kasavubu, while the Soviet Union, China, and Cuba supported the rebels, whose leader was Patrice Lumumba.
The Congo Crisis officially started a week after they were granted Belgian independence in June 30, 1960. During the decolonization of Africa after World War II, Belgium was forced to give Congo their independence due to alleged high levels of inequality and racism. On July 11, 1960, with the support of Belgian business interests and over 6,000 Belgian troops, the province of Katanga in the southeast declared independence as the state of Katanga under the leadership of Moise Tshamba. Tshamba was known to be close to the Belgian industrial companies, which mined the rich resources of copper, gold, and uranium. Katanga was one of the richest and most developed areas of the Congo. On July 14, 1960, in response to requests by Prime Minister Lumumba, the UN Security Council adopted Resolution 143. This called upon Belgium to remove its troops and provide military assistance to the Congolese forces to allow them to meet fully their tasks. Lumumba demanded that Belgium remove its troops immediately, threatening to seek help from the Soviet Union if they did not leave within 2 days. After heated debates and arguments, the Congo was in the midst of a heavy political disintegration.
For the first 6 months of 1961, there were four groups that claimed to lead the Congo: the Motobi government based in Leopoldville, the Lumumba government based in Stanleyville, the Tshamba government in Elizabethville, and a breakaway government in the Kasia province led by King Albert Kalonji, though it was a self-appointed title. Under pressure from Western nations, in exchange for UN support, President Kasavubu removed the radical elements of his government, which included Prime Minister Lumumba. Western leaders viewed Lumumba as an obstacle for democracy and supported this decision. Lumumba responded by firing Kasavubu and claiming control of the country. In response, Army Chief Joseph Mobutu ran a coup d'etat that ousted both leaders. Mobutu's government was supported by the Western leaders, while the Soviets and other communist countries supported Lumumba. Lumumba was then killed by Katangan rebels. This led to Mobutu reaching out to President Kasavubu and them leading together to end the Katanga rebels. Mobutu had assured the Western countries that he was the most effective leader in the fight against communism, and with their support, he captured the power from President Kasavubu. He then continued to create a one-party dictatorship which was in control till 1970.
The decolonization of the sub-Saharan Africa from the late 50s to the mid-70s resulted in several proxy Cold War confrontations between the United States and the Soviet Union over the dozens of newly independent, non-aligned nations. The first such confrontation occurred in the former Belgian Congo, which gained its independence on June 30, 1960. In the early 1950s, Belgium came under increasing pressure to transform the Belgian Congo into a self-governing state. Belgium had ratified Article 73 of the United Nations Charter, which advocated self-determination, and both superpowers, the US and the Soviet Union, put pressure on Belgium to reform its Congo policy. The Soviet Union and the United States of America were both campaigning for an independent Congo because they were eyeing the resources of the country. A newly independent country is usually weak, therefore very susceptible to graft and corruption, especially from superpowers. The country, situated in the middle of Africa, contains tons and tons of valuable resources from diamond, gold, and platinum. Both superpowers wanted to claim the country for its valuable resources and uses the crisis as a scapegoat for partaking in the peace. In the first week of July, the army mutinied against the remaining white officers that lead the Congolese army, and numerous attacks took place against Europeans in general. The mutiny immediately took away any authority the civilian government had. It also created a state of near panic within the Congo, as 100,000 Belgians lived there, primarily in or near the capital Leopoldville. In response to the crisis, the Belgian government sent Belgian paratroopers to protect Belgian citizens in the Congo. This was an illegal act, as the Congo was an independent nation and free from Belgian rule. The government of the Congo had not invited the troops in. Supported by the United States and Belgium, the southern provinces of Kasai and Katanga seceded from the newly independent country and protested to become a free state under Western rule. The newly elected government, led by Kasavubu and Lumumba, were against the action, therefore calling the intervention of the UN and the communist powers. The Congo Crisis was both a war of ideology and resources. By 1965, a total of 100,000 were killed due to the wrath of war. On November 25, 1965, with the help of the CIA, Mobutu seized power from President Kasavubu. Mobutu had the political and military support of Western countries, who saw him as an ally against communism in Africa. Over the next 3 decades, Mobutu led one of the most enduring regimes in Africa. Despite the country's obvious natural resources, including copper, gold, and diamonds, much of Zaire's population sank further into poverty. Mobutu amassed a personal fortune estimated to be as much as $5 billion US. After changing the country's name to Zaire's in 1971, Mobutu also pursued a policy expunging remnants of colonialism. In addition to changing the names of the country, in many of its cities, major industries were nationalized. As the Cold War waned in the early 1990s, so did Western support for Mobutu. In light of allegations of human rights abuses and rampant corruption, Belgium, France, and the United States all suspended military and financial assistance to the regime. As the economic and political situation worsened, Laurent Kabila began a military drive from eastern Zaire in October 1996 to depose Mobutu. But by May of the following year, with his regime in shambles, Mobutu fled, first to Togo and then to Morocco. He had reportedly requested permission to travel to France for medical treatment, but the French government refused. Less than 4 months after he was forced into exile, Mobutu died in September of 1997 in Morocco.